I got 10:05. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Village of Lakemore's Financial Planning and Supervision Commission. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Mr. White?
Here.
Mrs. Cochran?
Here.
Mr. Heinrich?
Here.
Mayor Justice?
Here.
Mrs. Hanrahan?
Here. Mr. Adams has a family issue and is unable to make it here today. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, and that's from February 25th. I would take any amendments to those minutes. And after you've reviewed and are satisfied, if there are no amendments, then I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Ms. Cochran moves, Mayor Justice seconds. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mayor Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanrahan?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a report of the financial supervisor.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
If you go to your actual financial packet, and let's start with page 2. The total cash balance for the village at January 1st was $962,229. And at the end of June, the total cash balance is $1,126,471. And that's an increase of about $162,000. The exciting news is if you look at the first line, which is the general fund, you'll see that they started the year at a deficit of $120,582, and they are now in the positive at $91,625.
Standing.
If you look down in the middle of the page, there's the issue 2 improvements fund is at a negative right now, and that's just basically due to timing, waiting on their reimbursements from CDBG. If we turn over to page 3, these are the monthly revenue allocations for the general fund as of June. For the property taxes, was basically supposed to be at 50% since they've received one of their settlements for the year. And as you see, we've come in at 58%. So so far the taxes that are coming in a little more than what we expected. The income taxes are at 78% right now, and as you know, we don't budget for the credit portion of the income taxes, so that's why it looks like it's, increased more than or over the 50% right now. The intergovernmental is a little under 50%, and usually at this time the village has received the Edwin Shaw monies, so we're still waiting to get that money. So that's about $12,000 that they get every year. And the license and permits and fees are up primarily due to I believe it's called the Internet Cafe, the little casino place
that's a
in
good name.
Lakemore. It's been bringing in more than what we expected.
They weren't even around last year.
Right.
So this year they're back, doing well.
Okay, pages 4 and 5 are the monthly expenditure allocations for the general fund. And right now, if you look at the last 2 columns, we have a percentage that the village has budgeted to be at according to their appropriations. And as you see, the actual is the last column, and we're within appropriations basically on every line item. If you look at page 4 and 5. So we're basically where we thought we should be at the end of June. On page 6 is the AOS billing, which is, as you know, the outstanding balance owed to the state auditor's office. And we're at the halfway point of the year, so they've reduced or they've paid toward their balance $12,000, and their remaining balance is the $30,684.87. Pages 7 and 8 are the outstanding encumbrances by fund, and they have a total encumbrances of $749,138.49, and a little over $269,000 is for the police services for Springfield and for their dispatching services, and then another $300,000 is down in the sewer fund, which is the amount they're paying the city of Akron for their sewer services. So that makes up the majority of the encumbrances. And pages 9 to 14 are the budget and actuals for the revenues and expenditures as of June 30th. On page 9, if you look at the income tax right now, if you compare it to last year, it's down a little bit, and that's due to the fact that last year you guys were still receiving income taxes for the new construction at the school.
Yes.
So that's gone away now. If you look at intergovernmental, again, it's down about $14,000, and if you look at June 30th of 2014, you can see that they had received that $12,000 from Edwin Shaw. And if you look at our 2015, you see that we haven't. So basically, that's the reason why it's down right now. And if you look down in miscellaneous, the $31,168 that they've received this year, that includes some, the village sold some assets this year. So that includes a good amount of sale of capital assets.
Did they sell the pontoon boat?
Yeah. And some old dump trucks.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep, we did not need that.
For those people who were thinking about buying one, too late.
It was a good deal.
It's gone.
Okay, down in the expenditures, if you look at the finance department and also the fire department, which is on page 10, those are down this year simply because the villages split the expenditures, moved a good amount of the cost for the finance department and for the fire department into other funds. So they distributed it a little different this year. And also the police expenditures are up right now due to this, 2015 was the first year that they had to pay for the police cruiser that they're leasing. And actually it's about $11,000, which is what if you see on page 10, the increase over the prior year. So that's basically taking up most of the reason for the increase as of June. If you look on page 12, the EMS fund, if you look at the revenues in 15 so far compared to what they got last year in June, you can see there's a $44,000 increase. And the primary reasons for that is the EMS fund has received $20,000 in SAFER grant monies this year, and they've also received a transfer in. So that's basically the reason for the increase. The other two funds, basically, those were funds that caused the village to be in fiscal emergency. But if you remember, way back in 2013, we reduced those deficits when it's transferred from the general fund way back in 13 sometime. So they basically, they have zero balances, so. The last thing, based on, the fiscal emergency and everything, as you know, there's a report of accounting methods for the village, and there are certain comments that the auditor of state has, and in order to be taken out of fiscal emergency, the village has to respond to those with positive, saying we fixed this stuff. And right now, in that report, there were 30 comments that needed to be addressed, and we have corrected 23 of those comments. So the village is working diligently right now to respond to the remaining 7, so that when you guys are ready to request termination, those will be done, and we just have to come in and, look at the support and make sure they're actually completed and to the satisfaction of the office. So, any questions on the June 30th packet?
Is there any time frame when those final 7 will be completed? Is there a guesstimate of time within the next month, 2 months?
I know that Tracy said she was going to take the month of August to work on them, so I'm thinking probably by September she will have. Basically, the rest of the comments are just policies that weren't established in the village, and she's just going to spend some time writing up policies on the rest of those. So. Okay, the next thing I want to go over is the financial forecast. And this is the packet with the funds that are included which cost the village to go into fiscal emergency. The first fund, of course, is the general fund. And the 2016 through 2019 expenditures, those do include a 1% increase in salaries for all of the departments. So let's start with the revenues. If you look at the income taxes, if you look from 2014 to 2015, the reason again for that difference is due to the fact again that we do not budget your $240,000 that you get for the credit for the income tax. We don't include that in this budgeted amount because we've always said we're going to use that money to decrease your deficit. And if you look on the third page, you can see that that's basically been very effective. But for right now, I want to go over just a couple of items on page 1. If you look down in lands and buildings under the expenditures for 2016, there's a large increase from 15 to 16. The $101,000 that's expected there, that includes repairs to the village's boilers and these heating units. They're in need of repair, so they're gonna bite the bullet.
What's wrong with that one air conditioner?
It's a long
We're like
story.
crossing our fingers and toes
Oh,
that
that
it
one?
still
That
works.
one looks
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, well.
Heck, we got that from Edward Shaw.
The gift that
Thanks to
keeps
the
on
county,
giving,
yeah.
yeah.
If we go over to page 2, under the police department, 15 through 19, that we've always included a 1% increase, and that's due to the average increase of the contract for the fire services with Springfield Township.
Please.
Let's see. And if you look under fire, you'll see that from 14 to 15, that's gone down. Again, that's due to the village splitting out more of the fire expenditures to the EMS and fire levy funds. And if you look on page 3, under the transfers, you can see that in 14, we transferred out about $65,000 in transfers, and in 15, we're anticipating to transfer out 48, and 16 through 19, the only transfers out that they're anticipating to do is for the nuisance abatement. So the transfers are going down considerably. So if you look down on page 3 at ending cash, we've still got negatives all 5 years. So with our recovery plan items, in 2015, we're still anticipating getting the credit reduction for income tax. At the rate that the village is going, and as you can see, if you look at the ending cash with the recovery plan, all 5 years are in the positive, and they're, nice positive numbers. We've included in the recovery plan the data collection company. There's an additional 100 jobs with an estimated almost $35,000 for income taxes from those employees. And also there's going to be a Save-A-Lot coming with 20 additional jobs, and that's going to be almost $12,000 in income tax monies. And then the last thing is that the village is placing on the November ballot a 4.25 mil fire operating. And that $37,000 in the general fund that you see down there under that, those are the fire expenditures that are currently in the general fund. With the passage of the fire levy, all of the fire expenditures are going to be paid out of EMS and the fire levy fund. They're no longer going to be paid out of the general fund. So with all of these recovery plan items, you can see that the ending cash for the general fund is going to be positive. Which is wonderful.
And I think the only thing I'd say about that, how we're wording that in here, operating levy, 0.25% of that's gonna go to capital.
Okay.
Fire
For the
department.
fire, okay.
Okay,
Just want to make that clear.
but that's not gonna be in the general fund though.
No,
Correct.
Right,
no, it would sit in the EMS. or
right.
the
That's
fire
gonna be in
levy
the
fund,
other,
yeah.
in the fire levy fund, so.
That's great.
So that is a wonderful thing. The next page is the Police Disability and Pension Fund. And basically, we've forecasted to basically be the taxes that come in to this fund. We've just also just estimated the same amount of expenditures in that fund. And basically, that's been happening on an actual basis if you look at the actual funds. The actual columns, I'm sorry. 2012 to 2014. On page 5, for the EMS fund, again, basically what we've done for 2016 through 2017 is basically budgeted the revenues and the expenditures to be the same. And if you see, the expenditures have gone down from 15. Those expenditures, the difference between 15 and 16, those expenditures, those are going to be included in the fire levy fund. And again, the last two funds, basically, we took care of those in 2011, so there's basically no activity going through there, and we anticipate that to be the same for the forecast years. And the same for the capital improvement fund on page 7.
That's great. Did you want to say?
Based on what you're looking at today, it looks pretty darn good.
Thank you.
The village has
Oh my
done
gosh, yes.
such a good job, I can't even begin to tell you. What we're looking at now with your approval, of course, is we're gonna keep monitoring, of course, on a monthly basis. And just gonna be working with Tracy to clean up all the accounting report comments. It's our goal by the end of the year, have those all cleaned up. If the forecast holds true, it looks pretty good. Everything's gonna be in the black. We also, excuse me, cannot have any deficit funds at the end of the year. Those all have to be cleaned up, and it looks like there's just some timing issues. Those will go away. If that's the case, at year end, it looks like the village could request release from fiscal emergency. But that's something that, you'll have to drive, of course. But we can recommend, based on what we see, we'll see how the levy does in November. That makes a big deal. We'll see how that goes. We'll put another forecast together, and maybe in December get together. In between now and then, that's fine too, but for sure in December, and see what you think. And then once it closes, we have to do it as of year end. But once the year closes, we could theoretically work on a termination report in early 2016. So it's kind of what we're thinking.
That's what we're thinking too.
Sounds great. On the plan, did council approve this? The plan itself?
Not yet.
They have not yet.
Okay, so we'll defer voting on the plan, but, accepting this as going forward. I heard, and just to make sure that I'm clear on this, council, is that you've already done everything that you need to do as far as getting this levy on the ballot for November?
All that legislation's
So
been
that's,
passed.
so that's fine. So we know that parts of the plan are going forward, that it's going forward. I would like to meet sometime towards the end of not towards the end of November, because we're talking Thanksgiving, but sometime after the election to see where we stand with that, because that's such a big part of getting out of fiscal emergency. It really is. But everything that you have done, the mayor, council, Tracy, everything that has been done up to this point has always been towards, and Barry, everything has been going towards, has led up to getting out of fiscal emergency. So it's not that, oh, this is a cure, well, why didn't we do this before? There was a lot of stuff that had to happen anyway, and this place has diligently taken those steps towards getting out of fiscal emergency. They really have. This is great. This is great.
Thanks.
I have one question, Angie. In this 5-year forecast, have we provided any pay increases
There's a-
other than just the 1% you said for our employees who haven't had a raise in
Right
years?
now, it was decided just to do the 1%. So right now, in this forecast, each year, there's a 1% increase for everyone.
I think there's room, Lori, to adjust that. through
I
our
would hope
meetings.
so.
Yeah.
For these people
Yeah.
who've worked
Come back
5
with-
years
yeah.
without.
Yeah.
But the way that it's the forecast with the assumptions in it so far, it does give you that flexibility, and not only to address restore, well, I don't know if you'd even restore, but at least to give something to your employees that have done without for so long, but also it gives you the flexibility to deal with unanticipated things that may, well, usually, I mean, you can't anticipate everything, but there might be additional capital needs. At least you're not, I'm not saying it's not going to be tight, but it's, there is that flexibility there, so you can deal with a couple of different issues.
Yeah, and not only that, but we're short employees also.
On the
We still
road
don't have a village
department.
administrator. We're still short, you know, at least one guy on the road department. So we're gonna work through all those questions too. See if there's room, whatever there's room for.
And that's true, I'm glad that you mentioned road and everything else, because we don't know what this winter's gonna bring. And any winter after that, as far as salt usage, salt costs. I know that repaving of the roads has always been an issue that you try to address, so it does give you the flexibility to work with that, and to at least, I wouldn't say adapt to your environment, but to be better able to respond to things that come your way, which you really haven't been able to.
Yeah, this was our priority for the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, with the discipline that we've shown, it's working out.
I did have a question, because it seems like it's been a while since we have been here. I know it has been. The data collection, where are they at? Where is this from?
They're on Sanitarian Road behind the new
Okay.
Dollar General store.
Okay. Wow, that's great to be able to land that. And the Save a Lot, I think you were talking about a while.
Yeah, we had to work hard to get that.
Yeah, yes.
We had to look really hard at our zoning, give a variance, and we worked really hard at that. They've started construction already.
And where's that
Okay, at the
In
plaza.
the plaza.
Okay, okay. That's great.
Mhm.
That is great.
Any other questions, comments?
Oh, I guess maybe this is for the mayor and Ms. Cochran. The levy. I would admit does council have a committee, or is
Yeah,
there
I
a
was
committee?
gonna talk about that in my
Okay,
report.
well, wait, okay. Then I guess,
Yeah, we'll move along.
Nothing else, that's all I have.
okay, well, that's
Congratulations.
great. Thank you,
Thanks, Angie.
Angie. This has been one of your better,
The best.
Yeah.
presentations.
Thank you.
Not that they haven't all been good, but this is really good.
This is really good.
Is really, really good. Okay, if there's no other questions, Mayor?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
First of all, we can all say happy birthday to Tracy.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Is that what the
Yeah.
cake's for?
That was left over from the fire chief.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They didn't buy you a cake.
I just found out about it.
Oh, okay.
Recently.
We don't
And we don't want to
usually.
sing. I don't want to sing.
No, I don't want, you
You
don't
don't
want
want-
me
you
to
don't want
sing
to
either. Trust me.
So, well, some of the things we mentioned already, like the Save a Lot, that it's going to be about 20 jobs, I believe. And I think what else it's going to do is really help the plaza out. You know,
That's true.
bring more people there. The plaza's really getting solid. You got Tractor Supply, Goodwill, Edmund Shaw, Penny's, the Forever Fitness gym is doing really well.
Okay.
Last time I heard they had 1,800 members there. So the plaza's getting a lot stronger. And the plaza owners are starting to invest more in the plaza too. They're going to redo the signage up front and some of the paving up there. So I'm happy about that part of it. Talked about roads a little bit. Sanitarian Road, we're looking at a grant from the county for $100,000 just for engineering,
Okay.
which will help us get further grants. Sanitarian Road looks to be about a $3 million project to complete, so, you know, that's a lot of money. I mean, you think that we're gonna pass a levy and get so much money, and then we're gonna be able to start fixing roads and stuff, but we need to work harder, you know, even after that.
And it's one of those, it's not, a state road, it's, you know, you're really,
It's a through route, we can get federal funds
Okay.
for it, but to not have engineering and to go after federal funds,
You
know,
can't.
it's tough. So this money for engineering really helps. But I guess the thing that we have to focus on most now is the levy. And we have already set up a levy committee.
good.
We've had a few meetings, and I want to introduce our former fire chief, Chief Bidner.
Oh.
He's going to be the chairman of
Hi.
that committee.
Well, great, thank you.
You know, how many years were you chief? Chief?
I was chief for 24.
Wow.
24 years. So we're very thrilled that he's going to be part of the campaign for the levy.
Wow, that's
Well, I
great.
don't know how through it should
I am, anyways.
be. We're gonna work really hard on it. I think we've got a pretty good plan in place.
Good.
We just gotta get all the players, with all of their input. I think within the next 2, maybe 3 weeks, we'll have the plan all set, all together. Everybody will know what their role's gonna be. Everybody's gonna look at the same light at the end of the tunnel.
Good.
Get the levy passed and get this village fiscal emergency. Maintain the fire department the way, the community, it should be for residents. That's what we want.
Yeah, and like the chief said to me earlier, this is a turning point for the village, really, to pass this kind of levy. I think it's going to be more fair. Right now, with the tax credit reduction, you have some people that are paying a lot of money. And, if you work in Akron, you're probably paying 3.25% local income tax, which is too much. And what I mean by more fair is that it's going to be a property tax, so every resident will have a little bit of part in it, and instead of a few people having a big part in it. It'll stabilize our fire department, definitely for one thing, and free up some money that we can use for roads and infrastructure in the village. So it's a win-win. It's a lot of reasons to vote for it, so we're going to work really hard to push it. And that's all I have today.
Wow, okay. Any question for the mayor? Oh, okay. What do you got for us? Ms.
Well,
Cochran?
basically, we've talked about the fire levy, and I just want to add
Mhm.
that it is crucial to our village that it passes, to our plan to give back the tax credit, to keep our 24-hour staffing instead of going backwards. I think council we have the full support of the council that this is just really, it's a crucial move here at this time for our village. So I just wanted to emphasize that again. And then I did want to also mention, we had the library issue passed. So with that library issue passing, we're told that we possibly will get a satellite library, and that money won't be coming in, I believe, until next year. But it's a possibility that we could have it at Lakemore Plaza until they can find a permanent home, is my understanding here
Okay.
somewhere. So that's also another exciting thing for Lakemore, to have the
That's
library here.
great. Do they, well, I know it's still new and everything, but they have any indication as to the size of it, or?
Well, not
not
the
sure yet. The
satellite office, but
Okay.
then they talked about building a permanent library somewhere, and
In the
hopefully it's going to be
vicinity.
in Lakemore.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mhm.
That would
There's
be
a
great.
site dedicated at Edward Shaw property for a library also, from the county.
Oh.
So whether the library board picks that site or not, but there's a lot of opportunities in Lakemore.
And
And
the
if
other
you're-
site was up at the high school.
Yeah, at the high
Okay.
school. So, I mean, if you're they're considering the Lakemore Springfield Township
Okay.
area, this library to support that area, we're right in the center of that area. So it's a really logical spot to put it somewhere in Lakemore.
Has anybody looked at Edwin Shaw since the last time we met?
Yeah. We've been meeting with Springfield Township Schools about a
Oh.
possibility of consolidating their elementary buildings up there, which would be huge for us as well. Probably about 100, 120 jobs. But it's really preliminary now. The superintendent really likes the concept of that.
Yeah.
For practical purpose, it'd be great to consolidate all that, especially being so near to the high school. We can incorporate a lot of things with trails and Waterworks
Yeah.
Park and the high school and elementaries. It'd be wonderful, but it is quite early for that. I think they're going to get some engineered drawings or architectural drawings put together to present to the county. But the county's really positive, and I think the schools are really positive about it. And of course, we're there to support it too.
Good.
Oh, that would be great.
Sure will.
It really, the time that you took me, I mean, it's a great area. It
Mhm.
has so many possibilities. It really does.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's just getting that movement a little bit more,
Yeah.
so. Never know. Never know. This is great. This is really great. Any questions for Ms. Cochran? Any other questions at all? Well, this has been great. I am really happy about that. New business, old business, this has been our business for a long time, and, our business is starting to come to a close.
You say a long
That's
time, but
amazing.
we're 1 year ahead of schedule, right? As far as getting out of fiscal
I
year.
think so. Didn't we say like maybe 6
Like
years
2016.
or something? I'm not really sure. For a while there, it was just inching by, and, there's been so many. I think we finally got to the point now where there's no surprises. How about that? Tracy has not been surprised in some time now, so it's been kind of boring for Tracy, poor thing. So it's really, really, really great.
Carolyn Mawston, she's from the Suburbanite,
Mhm.
and we got together a while back to do an article on how we've been progressing through this. And, you mentioned the surprise and also when we first started. We had some people from back when we first got in fiscal emergency and all this changes. And now we're talking about one issue, you getting the levy passed. But back then it was like, we got to cut jobs, we've got to cut budgets, all that hard work to do that was really painful because, you had to let people go and stuff like that. So you're bringing back some memories.
Yeah, what do we
Yeah.
owe?
Right.
Yeah, there was a ton of stuff.
So we've come a long
Ton.
ways.
Yes, very much so. You guys should be very proud. Very proud. No new business or old business. Public participation. Did anybody want to address the commission? No? Okay. All right.
No, Marty, you don't? Okay.
No, my question was answered.
Okay.
Okay, great. Determination of the next meeting time. We did say November, right? By the way, I'm gonna I'm gonna involve Quentin. The commission has met Quentin. Quentin will be the chair of the next commission meeting. He will be the designate of the director.
And you won't be back at all? So this is.
Probably not unless
This is
I'm.
like bye-bye?
I might just go down the lake someday, though. Find out who's got that pontoon boat.
Yeah, it's somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Oh, man, I'm not going. No more traveling in the car trip, sorry.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else is driving, I'm not gonna forget it. Let's see.
Is the election
Do
the
we like
third?
Wednesdays?
Is it the election on the 3rd?
It is. First Tuesday in November.
That Wednesday
Are-
after?
I am so confused now. Are we now celebrating Veterans Day on the real day? Because that would be the Wednesday
Yeah,
That would be the 11th.
of the next
Mhm.
week. So,
Either the 4th or the 18th, I guess. Because the following would
You
get
want
right-
to do like the 18th? Would
It's
that make
fine.
more sense to do the 18th?
That work for you?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. is good.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 works great.
Okay.
We'll be here before they close.
Anything else for the good of the order? I mean, I don't know how much better it can get, to be honest with you, but very good job. You guys have done well. Very good. All right, if not, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Mayor moves. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Cochran seconds. On a voice vote, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. This meeting is adjourned.